Welcome back everyone to Comics Odyssey. I'm Ulysses and I will be your host for this process video. Thanks for watching. Today we are doing a follow-up to last week's process video, which were the pencils for this piece here. Last week I discussed the idea behind this piece, which is essentially just challenge myself and learn some things and try to learn new techniques of immersion such as perspective. Now we're doing inks, and the inks, I'm doing my standard dip, pen and brush and ink wash technique. And as you can see, I have already inked the figure, which is where I wanted to start because it's the most important. It's the focal point. So everything's going to revolve around this figure, which kind of in a way represents the viewer, or depending on the way that you immerse yourself in a story, it represents the person that you pushed off a building. So a lot of it here, because I did the legwork in pencil, is just following more or less strictly the pencils I put down just with the inks, using different nibs for whatever is more effective, whatever makes the best line. When I started this whole Spirit Girl story, my thought was that I would make an all-ages tone book. That was just my feeling at the time, and as time went on, I kind of accepted that my imagination has a bit of an edge to it, a bit of a dark side. Hopefully not the dark side. But yeah, I do get inspired by, shadowy visuals and noir kind of moods. So I decided to drop that idea and go basically kind of something appropriate for like 16 and up, which is kind of when I started to really feel the impact of comics on my development as an artist. I decided that I wouldn't rule out these lines with a ruler. It was a decision I made because this is like a more experimental piece for me to simply just learn things. I wanted to see what it would look like if I, instead of ruling my ink lines, I followed the ruled in pencil lines. So everything's measured out with, a high degree of accuracy with my pencils. And so those are all done with ruler. But if I follow them freehand, follow those lines freehand, I was hoping that it would give a more like handmade look, and that it would, the line would have some wobble, which to me makes the line look interesting. I don't know what I think about it yet. I think that's what I like. I think I want to keep practicing that and become more precise with my freehand. There's going to be, you're going to see the piece at the end of this video, or embedded into the Substack post here, so you can take a look at it and tell me your opinion. if that's a technique that I should continue doing. The music you hear here is by my friend Brett Jansen, who goes by Futurescapes on YouTube. I recommend listening to his music. There's a bit of an oversaturation in the ambient genre right now, especially on YouTube. And I'm an ambient music aficionado, a connoisseur, if you like. I started listening to ambient music way back when Brian Eno was kind of making his first forays into the genre, maybe like 10 years after that. So I kind of followed the genre and fell out when I kind of started exploring other genres of music, and came back to it when I was doing my art. Obviously, ambient music influenced when I was making music in a band. When I started making art, I wanted to listen to some things, and I knew that ambient music was the best thing to listen to for me, that wasn't distracting and kept me focused and relaxed and calm. And I started adding it to my videos because it expresses the right feel I'm going for. I do want people to feel good and calm and relaxed. And when I make YouTube videos, and I like that I can differentiate myself from a lot of content online, which is a lot of outrage inducing content, and I don't want to do that. I would prefer that whoever listens to my videos feels better, not worse. For some reason, when I say that out loud, it makes me laugh. So I am pretty fussy when it comes to ambient music, and Futurescapes is one of the better ones out there. And Brett has graciously given me permission to use his music in my videos, so I recommend checking him out. Link down below. He's also a Canadian, so that's a plus. A lot of this is, in a way, it's like tedium, but because I listen to the music and I'm using my hands, I do enjoy it. It can get, it can feel tedious, but I don't like tedium like filling out forms on a computer, or going through an Excel spreadsheet. I would make a terrible accountant. But I don't mind doing repetitive work with my art. It's something I'm interested in, something I care about, and even if it's just filling in pools of black, even though it's tedious, I do get some enjoyment from it, as long as I take breaks frequent enough so that my sitting muscles don't get tired. That's one thing from making videos. I need to focus on the artwork and not so much on making videos. So I more or less set the camera there and forget about it. And sometimes I'm doing work out of the shots. So apologies for that, but it wasn't too long. a lot of the planning here is, which was in the early stages when I was doing my pencils, was where I'm going to put my blacks, because the blacks are kind of like visual gravity wells. They really have a big say in how you are going to interact with a piece, visually with your eyes. So really planning that in such a way that it frames the character. I'm not sure if I pulled it off as well as I would like in this piece. You tell me. But yeah, definitely planning your blacks is important, especially in a piece that is so black and white dependent. There will be colors at the end of this video, so keep watching, but it's still very dependent on the blacks. I slowed this down to regular time here and switched to a more precise nib, just to show the detail work of drawing the vehicles. And in a way, it's kind of my favorite thing to draw, that and the lampposts. It just adds so much life to the piece, to just drawing the human activity. And for some reason the lampposts are really a big indicator of, it really helps with immersion. And the little guys walking on the sidewalk and all that, the different types of vehicles, trucks and stuff. I don't know what it is. It does remind me of when I was a kid and playing like with Hot Wheels cars in the sandbox, and you kind of immerse yourself in a world of, you know, construction work. And I did live in a large city like this one, Blood Cove, for like 12 years. So I guess this is there's a little bit of my experiences of living in a city in this piece. Maybe to me, I hear a lot of like the hum of traffic, and cities always have a hum to them, especially when you're high up. You don't hear all the individual car horns and engines revving and all that, and the crosswalk signs beeping and squawking. Just an overall, it has kind of a white noise. If you're like up on a mountain with a view of the city, that's what you get. We should be getting to the colors here real soon. This is the inked piece with our fellow here in not so good a situation. He looks kind of shocked to have to find himself in this predicament. So you saw there's a kind of like a, yeah, here I used spray paint to make these various sheets of color gradients. I like that because the spray comes out in tiny droplets, as you can see when I zoom in there. And so instead of like a single color, there's like some texture to it, and which to me adds some interest. So my wife is an expert in color. She's a fine artist. To me, these are baby steps, but at least I figure if I'm not going to be excellent at color, I can at least be original. Now, I'm not super original because I did inspire this myself from 4-issue series of comics called Batman the Cult by Jim Starlin and Bernie Wrightson, and unfortunately I forget who the colorist is, but they were obviously dropping in kind of sheets of color like this that were done by hand and then modified in Photoshop. So I thought, well, if I really like the effects, I figured, well, if I make handmade sheets with different gradients, different colors and stuff, well, that's at least going to look not like most other things in the superhero genre of comics. So, and I think that does end up being successful. Like it does look it does look original, if I may say that without coming across like bragging. But whether the coloring's good, I think I still have a lot to learn. So, but you tell me, would you like reading a book that is entirely colored in this style? Of course, I use the tones, screen tones, digital screen tones for shading, and so here I decided to put it on the street to differentiate it from the other street level surfaces. And that's the finished piece. Thank you for watching. You tell me what you think of this piece, and stay tuned for more from Comics Odyssey.